wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show by people. Belize our hope for to needless reason. Nobody feel left out. Is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that must happen under God blue skies. I love it when people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play a role, get where you need to. You can tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait? It's a time calling. It's a show with no matter even if you're at home. Calling. WB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show, my people. Belize our hope, so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out. Is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that must happen under God blue skies. I love it when people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB.
All right, welcome. This is WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. It's a Thursday. It's my turn on Thursday. It's the 25th day of April, 2025. And we welcome you to the program this morning. I'm Nuri Mohammed, and we have always a program lined up for you that we hope you will be engaged and hope that you will also participate. We normally go through certain steps. We give you a look at the weather. We give you an update from our newsroom. And then a little bit after news, we begin our conversation. We do expect a guest this morning, but we won't announce that until we hear him close to the door. So let's start with the weather. And our weather forecaster for this morning is Crystal Rosales.
Good morning. Generally fair weather over the country. In the 24-hour forecast, skies will be sunny with some cloudy spells today and then clear to partly cloudy tonight. Shower activity will be isolated. And then high temperatures for today will reach around 86 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 93 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and then 80 degrees Fahrenheit in the mountains. For tonight, low temperatures will reach around 79 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 65 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and then 63 degrees Fahrenheit in the hills. Winds over the open sea will be from the east to southeast at 5 to 15 knots, and then sea conditions will be light chop to choppy, while high tides occur at 7:19 this morning and at 7:44 tonight. Low tides at 1:33 this afternoon and then at 1:54 tomorrow morning. The moon will set at 3:13 this afternoon and then rise at 3:42 tomorrow morning. Then sunset is at 6:11 this evening and sunrise at 5:30 tomorrow morning. In the extended forecast, similar weather conditions are expected for Friday and Friday night. And in the fire risk forecast, the risk for brush and forest fires will remain high for Friday. And this has been this morning's weather report from the National Meteorological Service.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
Belize is expected to lose funding in the tune of 125 million US dollars under the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC, as the Trump administration is shutting down the foreign aid agency. The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, led by Elon Musk, informed 320 MCC employees via an all-staff email that the agency is being wound up in the next 90 days, and some have been offered the voluntary early retirement or deferred resignations. MCC is a U.S. government agency that partnered with over 4 dozen developing countries to promote economic growth. In Belize's case, our MCC compact was just about to get underway with the projects in education and energy having been defined. Prime Minister John Briceño in March had said that he shared the hope that the U.S. Embassy staff, of the U.S. Embassy staff, that the compact would continue. He also noted that if the compact did not proceed, it would not negatively affect the operations of the government for the respective ministries.
Everything is on pause. Remember, the U.S. government put all of that on pause, and they're reviewing it. USAID is a big one that was on TV worldwide, and so MCC is just one of them. And it is on pause for the time being. When we speak with the officials, the American here at the U.S. Embassy, they're saying that they are very hopeful that it will proceed, and so do I. I do believe that they will proceed with it once the dust settles down.
If they don't proceed, are you concerned that you will perhaps be facing maybe not a situation like COVID, but difficult situations, because you were expecting that money? I imagine you were assigning it, and it should have been a great help to the government.
Yes and no. Yes, that okay, you don't get this funding, but more importantly, that funding was not being used to finance the Ministry of Education. It was to do other projects, because we were looking at how we can realign the educational system, which something that Minister Fonseca had already started, that the educational system can align itself with the economy, so that our young people can be that they could be better prepared for the economy of the future, working with the teachers and training and so forth. But it was, so in that sense, yes, but no, because we were not depending on that.
Prime Minister told us yesterday that while they have not been officially informed, all indications are that the MCC is being shut down worldwide. Our reports are that a few local staff had already been hired to oversee the execution of the compact. Captain Hoyle Grange, the pilot caught up in the terrifying hijack of a Tropic Air flight on Holy Thursday, has been released from the Belize healthcare partners where he was receiving treatment. The hospital staff lined the hallway and erupted in applause yesterday as he departed the facility. Recognized as one of the day's hero, he received flowers as a heartfelt token of appreciation. His first act of leaving the hospital was to stop at Divine Mercy Church, where he offered up prayers of gratitude. On Easter Monday, he had posted in his Facebook page, quote, "Thank you, my father, I owe you this one," end of quote. He had been stabbed multiple times during the harrowing ordeal and required surgery. According to the abridged formal police report that was released to the media, Grange was stabbed upon landing. That's because Grange tricked Aquinelia Taylor into believing that he was being taken to the United States as requested. Grange says that he spoke to Control Tower in Spanish, requesting that they have an official speak in Spanish to make Taylor believe that they were in Mexico. And then sometime later, he did the same thing, asking someone else who would speak with an American accent. However, when they finally landed, it did not take long for Taylor to realize that he was not in the United States, and when he started stabbing Grange up to 10 times, Fitzroy Brown fired his licensed firearm twice at Taylor, fatally injuring him. Grange shared that not long after takeoff, Taylor stabbed Fitzgerald Brown, and when Jar Castaneda intervened, he too was stabbed. The injured men and son of an employee who was sitting up front besides the pilot were all sent to the back of the plane. Once they landed, Grange immediately killed the engine to prevent Taylor from commandeering the aircraft and causing further harm on the runway. He also noted that Taylor was sweating profusely the entire time and also threw up several times. There are conflicting reports coming from the Prime Minister and the Minister of Agriculture regarding Belize's receipt of sterile flies to fight the spread of the screwworm disease in cattle. While the Prime Minister told us on March 26th that the U.S. had finally approved Belize to receive sterile flies, yesterday the Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Jose Mai, stated otherwise. Before, though, we repeat the Prime Minister's comments.
First of all, they have agreed now that they're going to give us the flies, the sterile flies, to be able to combat it. But what has happened is that why they were not giving us the flies immediately, simply because there's a bigger crisis in other parts of Central America. And I imagine that they felt that if they bring the flies here to stop it here, and you don't stop it over there, it'll still come to Belize. So they're trying to contain it over there. But now that they're seeing that it's starting to spread in Belize, they're making the sterile flies also available to Belize. And lastly, they had slowed down that program, so they do not have enough flies to issue. And so right now they are trying to ramp up the production of these flies.
Belize was the last country to get infected with the screwworm cases. Our first case was on 27th of December 2024. To date, we have, I think, a little above 50 or so cases of screwworms. Mexico was infected 5 weeks before Belize, but they have close to 600 cases in Mexico. So we are doing a good job in trying to contain the spread of screwworms across the country. Also important to note that Belize is, I think, the only country that has not been dispersed with sterile flies. The sterile flies belong to the U.S. government, for some reason or other, they refuse to disperse sterile flies over Belize. So while we have no sterile flies, we have all manpower on the ground. We have done a wonderful job in trying to contain the spread of the screwworms. We meet in El Salvador on Saturday to discuss the plan, regional plan for screwworms. We have a huge budget for the region, which will include all Central American countries to try to eradicate screwworm once again from Mexico all the way up to, I think, Panama again. This is the second time in 30 years that we're doing this eradication program. Everybody's on the ground trying to contain screwworms. We have strict protocols that we're following when we find a case, and we are adhering to that. However, I will say to you that reaching a point where resources are getting scarce, one, the human factor, people are getting tired, and so we can't do it alone. The element which is missing is the sterile flies, and so far we do not have sterile flies yet dispersed in Belize. We are putting a plan in place which Mexico and Belize will be participating together to get sterile flies, but up to now, no sterile flies have been approved for Belize itself.
First time since March 15, when the new cabinet portfolio announcements were made, Agriculture Minister Jose Mai spoke about being stripped of the sugar industry portfolio. As you may recall, the Prime Minister on a morning show stated that there was an emergency meeting with the principals of ASR who had expressed concerns about the handling of issues within the sector.
Well, I don't know what the concerns are. That was discussed with the Prime Minister in the States. I just like you, I knew of that visit after the fact. About the responsibility of sugar industry being removed from Ministry of Agriculture portfolio, which is the substantive minister. How do I see that? One, for ASR, I believe they will view it as a victory for them. For the farmer, they view it as treason, probably. Jules calls it a humiliation and demotion. I see it as a way for another person to do something different. Is it going to work? I don't know. I think this is the worst time in the history that we are facing Fusarium disease, among other things, including climate change. We stand by if we are called upon to assist. I am still the area representative for close to 800 cane farmers. As a matter of fact, Orange Rock South is the biggest sugarcane farm producing constituency in Orange Rock. Only San Lazaro, York Creek, and Guinea Grass, with those three, we have the biggest area under production of sugarcane. And so, the fact that I'm not the minister responsible for sugarcane does not keep me silent, none at all, on sugarcane matters. Absolutely not. That will not happen. Right? I will still be a voice for the cane farmers. I will be a voice for the for the corn grain growers. I'll be a voice for the livestock producers, and I'll be a voice for all other farmers in this country. That is what I was elected, that's what I was appointed to do, to look after the interests of all the farmers, including new products that come online. And that is exactly what I plan to do. So the fact that I'm not the minister responsible for sugar industry, right, does not mute me on this particular matter.
Minister Mai was very frank in questioning what emergency ASR, as owners of the mill, could have been facing.
About the emergency, I don't know what emergency it could be. They have a lot of benefits in this country. ASR has a lot of benefits, and I can list them one by one. First, they have benefited tremendously from concessions in this country. I think it was 30 years concession or a little bit less, which included environmental tax, which nobody else has in this country. They have benefited for many years from the fuel subsidy, which in my view I consider double dipping, because you get a concession, then you get fuel subsidy. In my view, fuel subsidy is for the small farmers who do not benefit from all the duty exemptions, and for them to try to get the cost low and maximize on the little that's left. They have benefited from, I would say, a monopoly on the U.S. sugar market, because only them in Belize can sell on that market. Santander has tried tapping into that market and they have not successful. They have benefited. They have benefited also from the monopoly on the local market, which is the second best paying market. They have not. Again, Santander has tried getting to the market unsuccessfully. They have benefited from the farmers paying 65% of some of their cost. We all know that's a big problem. And so what emergency could it be? If you are unable to survive economically with all those benefits as a multinational company, I don't know how you could survive, especially in a time when, if you look on the market trend, and you can Google it, and I think I've heard other stakeholders say that this is one of the highest prices sugar has been paid in many years. So if you have an emergency when the price of this commodity is at the highest, and you have so many benefits in the last 30 years, then something is terribly wrong with the way you manage. Maybe what should be the option? If you can't survive with all these, maybe then do something else. But I don't see what else could be the emergency. Nothing that we have done in the Ministry of Agriculture have caused them to have an emergency. Nothing that the government has done has caused them an emergency. A standoff for 3 days with the cane farmers won't cause them to be in such an emergency state. So I don't know what, and I was not privy to all the discussions or to any discussion that they had in Florida. But this is a very difficult time for the cane farmers, I'm telling you. The production seems to be 30% less this year. And so I wish they could solve their problems. I wish they could work together with cane farmers. But I find it very difficult. And I hope that they could find some way out of the emergency that they have, so if they have one. So I'm a little confused, you know, what could be the emergency, and I don't know what can the government do to solve their problem. I don't know. We have a production problem. If the farmers who don't have concessions are not in such a position like them, you know, I mean, something's wrong somewhere. If you're having these concessions and you're having problems, then what about the farmer, right? So it's something to think about. But I think what should be very important is for the Commission of Inquiry to be the results of that. The Commission of Inquiry needs to be aerated, needs to be discussed, and to see what is in there that can help the industry come back. I wouldn't want to see that the sugar industry crumbles under UP government. That is not what we expect it to be. We want the industry to survive.
I reiterated that it is a very difficult time for cane farmers, and express the hope that they can resolve their issues. That's our news package for this morning, the 25th day of April 2025. At 12 o'clock, we have an update, and at 3 o'clock, there is also another update on CRIM Radio. On CRIM Radio, we also bring you the full news broadcast at 5:15 this evening. At 6 o'clock here on XTV, we bring you the entire news for today. It's now 6 minutes to 7 o'clock. We'll take a short break, and we'll be back with the phone lines open to begin our conversation for this morning.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. The news. informative, accurate,
Welcome back. This is WUB, Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. It's a Thursday morning, the 25th day of April 2025. I'm Nuri Mohammed in the driver's seat this morning, and we invite you to call in. As I said, we expect a guest to come in, but the main part of this show every morning is an educational conversation because we're in a developmental mode in this country. We're not like 200 years old like United States or 300 years old like some of these European countries. We are a developing country. We're not even 100 years old. We don't even make half a century yet. So we need to put ourselves in that mindset of watching a child grow and recognizing that that child, as it grows, makes certain mistakes. It has to be taught. It has to be told, you know, go that way there, you go this way. You have to sometimes make it get hurt to realize that tell you not go in that direction. These are some of the things that we see in the process of raising a child. Well, we need to have that same mindset when we understand how governments and how countries grow. They don't pop into development, they evolve into development. And on the process and on the road to development, there's all kinds of hang-ups, all kinds of problems, all kinds of difficulties. And we as citizens have to be engaged in trying to correct. But let me start off on some good news before we jump into all of that analysis. I attended the book launching yesterday of the one and only Kenny Morgan, and his book is called If You Don't Think the Lie, and we'll discuss a little bit more of that as we go. Welcome, caller.
Yeah, Mr. Nuri, morning.
Yes, morning, sir.
Yeah, this Starlink project where the government may give Mr. Moser Elan approval so that
Give me that again, my brother. I never quite hear you. Your volume kind of low. Project?
No, the same. The Starlink project owned by Elon Musk.
Okay.
Where the government may give approval so that some people could have access to use it. Since he decided to cut that money we believe was to make it from the states, I think we need to scrap that project before he too. You know, simple as that.
Yeah, we do need some level of retaliation sometimes.
Yeah, because I don't go in for the official, for the official, I don't know, we're kind of pussy.
I know
they want trouble at the states. Yo, we need to put our foot down, Papa. You understand?
Yeah. It's a trying time. I'm not sure if that telecommunication thing you talk about, right?
Yes. No, the government did come out and said that they give approval so that it could have access, so that we could have access to it.
No, but
I think that the rural area, I think certainly the rural area.
Exactly. And
yeah, but that's still access. You understand? Because there's a lot of people living in a rural area.
Yeah.
You understand? So we need to shut that down, man. You just close that down and,
all right. I hear you. I think I hear your spirit, brother. And yeah, indeed, we need to find some way. But, when you're to deal with a giant,
yeah, but then
you
have to stand some time and
yeah, man. I know. Listen, I know. One of the notes I have here is that we need to look at Burkina Faso. This is a developing country. Yeah. And I agree with you. We need to have some kind of cojones when we deal with this man. But this guy, he's crazy, and he's vindictive, and you could see how he's treating his own people. So, are we prepared? Will our leaders talk to us about that kind of strength? This is the kind of way to call Castro-esque type strength that you need, where you say, well, we want to deal with you then. We will not depend on your embargoes. We don't care if you embargo us. We will survive. And that's what Cuba did. But I'm not sure that we have that level of intestinal fortitude in our leadership to be able to say, because if you remember, Briceño pulled out of the Hague. If you remember, we were part of this Hague thing where we were calling the Israelis and the United States and saying we need to do something now. He has pulled us out of that, and when he was asked for it, he kind of gave an excuse that, well, boy, You have to watch how this American and how this Trump the move, because this man can hurt us in different ways. I don't wear the hat of the prime minister, so I know I try double thinking, because, you know, it's a difficult thing to be the leader of a country. It's not easy to just get on talk show on the street corner. You say, boy, I do this and I do that. When you're a leader, you are responsible. And if you make one wrong move, even though you had the best intention with your wrong move, it's a wrong move, and you will pay for that wrong move. So I understand what you to say, that since then they put pressure upon we should find some lever where we could put back some pressure upon them. I don't think that what Elon Musk is doing with his satellite system has anything to do with the United States. That's his private company, and he in the double dip. If you watch how he work, he in the double dip. Some of his company's assets is going up and up and up while he's in that position there of efficiency minister for the Trump administration. But your point is, and I agree with you, that we need to find some kind of way to say that we don't want to take what you're doing to us without some kind of response. But then I need to tell you something else too, brother, and we got to be clear on this. These are gifts. Like this MCC, this is one gift, then they give we, and sometimes you get cat bile. You just take back your gift. You just say, I know they give you the gift again. Well, you can't get vexed because it wasn't something that you earned. They made give we one gift in the MCC. That was something that they were helping developing countries, which historically they should be doing that. It is those rich countries that have gained their wealth on our backs that are responsible for trying to help us to get back on our feet. Yes, we understand that in a moral sense, but in a legal sense, he know what we nothing. That's a gift that he was giving us. All of those foreign aid packages, including what we to get from Taiwan and these other, this is not what we earned. This is not payment. This is not profit. This is something that is being given to us as a gift. And since he decided that he want to pull this back, how we can jump up and say, all right, yeah, we want to pull this back for you too. What can we pull back? When in fact it's not a quid pro quo. It's not you give me something, I give you something. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. None of that. This is a thing where he decided, no, he in fact. It was in the Biden administration that they decided that they were going to help these various countries. And I saw the sign, as many of you saw it, over a month ago. In fact, I sent a message to the Prime Minister. As soon as I saw that they pulled back from the MCC from Nepal, I said, there's a sign of where this man going. And then after Nepal, it was another country and another country and another country, even though the Prime Minister had made that statement that he believes that they don't want to take it. The CABSEC also made the statement that, no, this thing is already signed. They can't pull this back. Can't pull this back. They can't pull this back. So, egg on our face, if we may think that, for some reason we're in some special position and they don't want to take it back. They took it back. Now, I am hoping that they will reinstate it because the man seems to be a little bit uncertain sometimes. He's pulled back the 10% tariff, so maybe he will pull back and return the $125 million US to us. Welcome, caller.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Nuri.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Brother Nuri, I would like to mention that I'm not very pleased with, now this is my opinion,
Of course.
with flying the Belize flag at half staff for the poop. And my reason of saying that is this. Majority of us here in Belize are indigenous people of African Aztec Maya descendant. We have been the victims of decisions made hundreds of years ago by the Vatican. The splitting up of Africa, the splitting up of the Americas and giving it to various European powers was the working of the Papal Bull, the apologize to us. Now, as a human being, we pay our condolences and respect, but because we are living in a democratic society, we are not a Catholic country. The Constitution of Belize have a clear demarcation in terms of church-state. So we cannot impose any religion on the citizenry of Belize by the state. That is up to the individual's choice. That's one point. Secondly, I think, Brother Nuri, that this year they're gonna choose a black pope. And why am I saying that? The Europeans have been playing a very astute game in terms of putting faces when the time is right to continue with their agenda. The same as Obama was placed there in that position as president of the U.S. So I think when that decision is made, it's going to be a black pope chosen. And lastly, Brother Nuri, I am so appalled to see the level of racism raising its head in today's Belize. I don't really understand what is happening to a lot of our Latin brothers and sisters that come up from Latin America, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, etc., etc. Most of those Latin republics, black people don't really have any political and economic power, and they are scorned upon. We have opened up the doors over the decades to accept a lot of our brothers and sisters from those republics into Belize to harmonize with us. But they still bring that prejudice with them. And I think that they really need to kick back and say like, hey, we need to do it. You cannot do that in this country. We need to have signs at the airport, the seaports, the borders, in the banks, all public places, that in Belize we do not condone and tolerate racism based on the color of a man's skin or their ethnic or religious or any other way. We do not condone that. And I don't know what is happening to our Latin brothers and sisters, and to an extent of Maya's brothers and sisters too. They have picked up that same thing, like hating on black people, like discriminating against us for the way we look, the way our hair is, the way our complexion is. And that is wrong. That is wrong. Up until in the 60s, Belize was predominantly an African country. So we have had a definitive change in terms of demographics. But we have to stand up. We have to fight back, because if we don't, what you said some weeks ago, Brother Nuri, I was pondering on that. You made mention that Panama, back in the day, was predominantly Afro-Panamanian, and then I never even knew that. And then we had a lot of influx from South America that came into Panama, and they brought big capitals with them. And with that capital, they brought that same racist thing. And today you go to Panama, you find the same thing. So we need to nip it in the bud here in Belize before it get out of hand, because that is rearing its head. And I think that the government needs to step up and make it be law that we do not condone racism against nobody in this country, and black people in particular. But I really appreciate your time, man.
All right, sir.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Very strong ideas, and I'm sure it resonates with a lot of people, listeners and viewers out there. I don't agree with you when it comes to the recognition of this particular pope. And I've been, doing some research on the papacy and particularly on this particular pope. He's the first Jesuit pope, which is an interesting story in and of itself when you understand the history of the Jesuits, who are a very special group within. He's a very special a group of priests within the Catholic priesthood. And for Paul, excuse me to say, Pope Francis to become the first Jesuit is an interesting move in and of itself. But you've given some historical reasons why you think that he should not be highlighted and he should not be honored. And my difference is perhaps just my own personal view, that I believe from watching him over the years, he came in 2013, he came from out of Latin America. I felt reading that he kind of brought that vibe to the papacy. He seemed to have been a grassroots man in the area of Buenos Aires. And he has made some very strong pronouncements trying to peel back the onion skins that have made up what the Catholic history has been. And I think that the honor of him is more as an individual than it is as a papacy, as a Catholic Church itself. And then on top of that, the majority of the Christians in this country are in fact Catholic. Welcome, caller.
Good morning, my friend Nuri. Long time I not talk to you.
It's been a while. This is an honor, Don Hector.
But I follow everything that you say.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Especially with the correctional school. Now that when I talk about conscription for rehabilitation.
We've talked about a lot of things, and I've never had you on the show. It's always on the telephone. You need to come in one of these days, or at least come in by. Yeah.
Right now I'm a bit hoarse, but I'm still alive.
Yes, sir.
To answer the question that gentleman put you about the recognition of the Pope, actually the Pope is a head of state. He's like the Prime Minister of Jamaica. He's like the Prime Minister of Uganda. He's like the Prime Minister of Spain. He is a head of state, so he has all rights to be honored by all nations of the world. In fact, I understand that a big man is going from, I think, from China. They're going there to the funeral. A lot of heads of state, because they are going there not as Roman Catholics. They are going there because this is a person that has a state. He rules in that state. So he is not prime minister, not king, but he is the Pope, and he is the head of the Vatican state. Belize state, Vatican state. So that's one of the reasons why he is being given the honor all over the world. And of course, Roman Catholics, well, we do it because we are Roman Catholics. Thank you very much, Rudy.
All right. I look forward to it. And I hope so, especially since we got these electronic things like Zoom. You could sit down right in your living room and talk to us. So we'll work that out.
Good.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, very quickly on the other points about this undiscussed issue. Some call it racism, some call it colorism, some call it a shift in opportunities being given to non-black Belizeans, the disparity that we see in these high positions, particularly in government, that has a majority of mestizo, when years ago it was a majority of Creole. People are sensing a change taking place, but the change is so subtle in some areas and blatant in other areas, and then we're afraid to talk about it in public. But don't believe that this conversation is not going on in little small silos. I know I've been engaged in a lot of conversations regarding this issue, that you can't say racism, you can't even call it colorism, but there is an attitude that you are seeing in particularly new Belizeans that have a sense of ownership and a sense of a feeling that, as the caller is trying to say, that if they made enough in their own country, they probably would not get what they have gotten here in Belize. But it's a difficult thing to discuss without somebody jump up and say, see Nuri, you see the Krem crow there? You see the Amandala crow there? You see that black thing there? And that's not the conversation. The conversation is another conversation that should take place by people who are applying their mind and not only their emotions. Welcome, caller.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, morning, brother. Welcome.
You know what I'm doing?
Yeah, man.
And the Pope, the thing with the Pope, I don't really into it. Another man like, I never discussed that with the Pope.
Yeah.
The Pope passes and he passes and I feel to my black brothers, when they pass, the murders and things, they never when I feel that the Pope pass and he pass. That's how it me, and that's done right there.
Okay.
And whatever ceremony, whatever, they ain't study that. That is just my thing. That is the way I live my life, no? I worry about the brothers them on the street. They kill up on another thing, and they hurt me. They never worry about. So I never waste my breath with the Pope and that. That's out.
Yeah.
I don't have a religion too much anyway. I don't have man into that too much. I know there is a God. That is it. I know there is God. That I know. But I don't have a religion too much. When it comes to racism, I always start about this story. I'm a black man. And I always must stand up. Because nobody, I don't care what you got, what you have, or whatever status people believe and put you high in a society, you are nothing. That has nothing to do with me. And you can't tell me nothing. You can't call on me, no simple. Because I know there's a lot of racism in this country. Racism all over this country. I don't know about the world. You know about I worry about where I live for 60 years. I don't know it. Racist. And I stand up. You don't tell me nothing. You don't obstruct me. You don't bring me down. And especially at this administration, racism, my brother, at the highest heights. You watch it in the ministry there. You watch man like Gilroy Usher. Watch man like Gilroy Usher there. What you do it right well Fergus one there. Hey, brother, don't get a break. He break them in the hall and don't watch Gilroy Usher. He didn't give him a minister yet. And this brother, this about what he put election, he tried win 2 and lose 2. What's a young lady? But just getting up now. Just getting a young lady, guys. See, I don't turn my minister. First time, you are just getting up so quick, like you see a ministry. But I'm not like the Russian, and the regular, I call it a political PUP, political flunky. That's the way I call it, but I don't want to use that. You know, way, but I do it. Even the party leader and the people united will never be a black man. You hear what I tell you. And you get it from me. You will never be a black man. Right, for the line, the day line, we will never rule a party. We will make sure that no. You know what I tell you. Pulling out of the hay. You know why we say no pull out of the hay? You know why? Because it's the money. He believe when he do that thing, I get this money. That's why he pull out to make it look good like he pull out, and that's why he get his money. Mm. And that day still breaks up. He's still not getting up. That's how we know and understand. You will have figured this money when you want to get this money, no money, but that's make it pull out of the hay. You don't get the picture.
No, that's a very good observation.
I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
That's the way you got up and touch somebody in an election where they never should have a touch. I think this money we are coming in today, we are put back. I don't walk out. I didn't tell you straight up again. You know, so the budget can't read it. A lot of shortfalls happen. Things not as good as you think, and I'm going to try and make people look as good. You could feel it. You could feel it after the election, everything gone, slow right down, nothing will happen. That's not the money that they can turn. Now they touch our money, because they never get the support like they usually get for Ascraft and then big donors, and they got out heavy. Heavy they got out in the election.
actually happening in this country. And the situation with the brother my up to that, when they take off a large sugar dealer and thing, and take a sugar for them in my portfolio. I don't feel bad, man. I remember when the Steve Adams, when they take all the sugar from the Steve Adams, and I buy it, I say, I don't tell them to find something else to do. You're right there. Straight up, we don't find something else to do. Give them bar and leave it the money, and then accept the money. I fight to them for the radio show. I said, bars will have to accept at least about $5 million. Because our lifetime. But after the table, I take it on. When the car right there, I make me see the curve. I said, you have to go about $1.6 million. So pick that done, share up done. And our lifetime thing, I take that off on the table, you. And my right there, big that. You never care about that, brother, he turned that. You see? So, brother, I didn't feel for that, tell us straight up.
So one point where you make the caller is that, in fact, my gone out strong because that was a ASR position to say that, look, yeah, we lose money here, and yeah, easier if we carry this thing down to Big Creek. And he was all for that, and he justified it by saying, well, uno stevedores have to wake up and stop the sit down there and get up and do something for yourself. Well, you fought the fight of ASR, and now ASR turn around and bite you in your backside, and you're in a similar situation, not in terms of money, but in an embarrassing way. You stood up for ASR to diss the stevedores, and now he turn around and ASR diss you. So that's an important point for him to check. Yeah.
You know, the case are the same knife and stick both stick sheep.
Exactly.
That's what they don't understand.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why I always tell I stand up. I don't want black man. I want work that I drop, brother Nuri. But I ain't not going to beg.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to compromise myself in a new way in my life. I rather take a pint bottle. I will tell you the truth. My brother also the pint bottle. You see them sanitation worker, I admire them. They pick up garbage. Man go pick up pint bottle, do any lead thing to get money, rather than go get insult. And that's what the people are admiring, all right? People who do that kind of work there. Yeah. And don't stoop down to nobody. Get up that people are work, watch what happen. Stop the making politicians and use it and eat 20 and eat 50 and then you know, get all kind of insult to the bigger and that, to the better and that. They take up and to need a right, but they get up. And they work, we got brain, get up, stand up. Really stand up and stop making the use in this country. Because I don't know, $25 man or $50 man or woman.
Yeah.
You feel big, but behind you, and I feel big. We got them covered out your own money. Your own money, but I know we've got time to break right now.
Yeah.
The line.
I appreciate it.
Care, brother.
All right, the best to you. After we finish, we guess where. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about it, but you know we got to deal with the phone calls.
Very educated, brother.
Extremely, and he's my guest tomorrow. Look here, Carla. He is the guest tomorrow, and we are talking depth. This man is a deep man, and we have a tendency to not. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Indeed. All right, brother. Thanks. Take care. All right. It's 7:30, and we'll break now for a 2 cent scam with Brother Brick, and that is sponsored by Fort Point Security. Our guest is in the studio, and after our guest, we'll go back and open the phone lines because I'm sure that a lot of these topics need to be ventilated. We'll take the break now.
watching WB and this is XTV. I got to say a big respect to 4 Point Security. All right. And trust me, the Belizeans are upset and unhappy about the outcome of the champion. They said the man was pro. All right. If you check the internet, you could go and find out that the man was he alleged that he was a part of 3 camp. All right. But guess what? I'm going to find out people that 2 cents because they're really unhappy with the outcome of the cross country champion. How you feel about the cross country champion? The winning, it's a foreigner.
Cycling have become internationally cross country. If you notice for the past few years, it's not the first time an American have won or a foreigner have won, and so we have to face the music, as I say. I guess the guys have to go back to the drawing board. But one thing I must say, that the level of competition have gone through the door. These guys are. I mean, as you know, I commentate for cycling. I know the cyclists, and if you go research Jim Brown, he's badass. So
the street, the people 2 cents is that he's a professional. He been part of 3 camp. I know 2. I think one of Miami clubs, one the Israel clubs, and one more.
Yeah.
If I call your car, because I don't know when to search.
Yeah, so yeah, the people are right. The guy is above us, and so that's the reason why.
So a professional give a participate in the cross country?
Well, I guess I'm not sure if he's a actual pro at this moment, but he was vetted. So they have a vetting team here in Belize, and they vetted the guy. And so if they gave him the go ahead, then he have all means to come. So they would have to go on the vetting committee.
Well, we have to, man, because we don't know that may happen. Although the young boy from George will come in first Belizean, but we're happy for him too.
But they said the champion now a pro.
Oh, well, we can't watch that. We have to deal with we pro too. We can't watch for them pro. Have a nice day. God bless you.
Champion, if you're satisfied with the outcome and the winning of the cross country
champion. If you open the door for make international people come in, what you expect to happen?
They said I'm a pro. They said I'm a pro.
The same one our own Belizean bringer. So you have to expect something like that if they're professional, and then we got good workers here. We have to give credit to the lead Belizean and come in what fourth?
Yeah, that's too saying.
Yeah, he put in a lead thing, yes.
All right. The street is saying I'm pro, right? People are saying that you got pro. Why
I think that the cross country race has evolved over the last couple of years. Having foreign competition means that there's a probability that a foreigner will win. Yes, this race is not about having a Belizean win. That's what the National Road Championship is for. I've always said that Belizeans are more patriotic on Holy Saturday than they are in the month of September.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a fault of our people, because they put so much into thinking that our local boys will win against these crazy talents that come into our shores to race. No. Yes, at the end of the day, we support our local boys. We want them to do well. But the reality is that we have competition who are at a different level, and at the end of the day, we have to accept a champion from the people who we allow to come in and ride. Of course, we'd want to see a Belizean winning, but the fact is a fact.
All right. That hurt to say.
All right, welcome back, and we are now going to discuss the life of an iconic brother that just lost his life a few days ago, and two of his musical colleagues are here to discuss. We've got the one and only T.R. Shine, and we have Positive Vibes also. Also, these brothers are iconic in their own way, but they've come here to pay tribute to Dion. And so, as I told them before the show, I'm not going to get into a long discussion. I want to give them the opportunity to express their feelings about this brother. Let's start with you, TR. What kind of brother was he, as a brother and as an artist?
Well, as a brother and as an artist, he was a very jovial spirit, one who's full of zeal, one who's always smiling, one who does not worry about no worries, even though the worries of life trickle down on him. He doesn't worry, he just frees up, and like joy and love spews from his heart, you know. So that's the type of person everyone knows him as, you know.
Did you cut some records with him too, brother?
Yeah.
I saw your video. You were very emotional in your video. You were very close to the brother. So, give me your feelings, man.
Well, for me, it still feel unbelievable. Because this brother, to me, his persona and his personality was even greater than life. And when I learned about the incident, and I went to the hospital and I saw him, you know, I was like, bro, although, you know, in my head I know that this is the situation, I still went and I tell him, boy, you got a performance later, what you to do? Get up. What you to do, bro? This is what we do. Get up, bro. Make we go so go deal it, what we to deal it. And I saw when the tears fell from his eyes, and, you know, that moment for me was, you know, like, I never knew that, you know, like, I never expect that to happen so quick. And the man, I'm a guy where even if you're upset with him, you can't be upset with him for too long. You know, consider I'm a guy where he could wake me up sometime for 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and he the barge in. He the barge in at the room, whatever, you know what I mean? And we just can't be upset with him. Like, boy, we did barely go so positive, it's that. You know what I mean? So he not me that type of guy there. I always have a smile on his face where was so real, like, you know, the guy was an amazing fella to us. And we lost not only a brother, you know, a friend, you know, a very good person in a society, you know, well respected. He make you smile. He make you, even if you have bills, if you have whatever happening going on, for that moment when he is there, you know, everything just, you know, everything just smooth, go away, all your issues, problems, everything. So,
Tiara, you used the word before we started, effervescent, that this brother had kind of a personality where, like, he'd bubble over with a spirit. You know?
His personality you can't put aside from his music either, because they intertwine in one, and that's what make him a great person. And besides the struggles that all of us face as musicians, he always somewhat seemed to overcome every obstacle we come in our way. So it's not like we know it's going to hurt us, we know it's going to keep us down for a while, we know we're going to stay hungry for a while, but at some spark within of we heart, drive we, and that's what he had the most out of all of us. I mean, like, when he stepped on the stage and you could see the level of performance, like, for instance, me, him, and Positive Vibes are like the top, next to Continental Cat from Heights of Vibes, which are like the powerhouse performance. So we can differentiate sometimes, but with his one, he always just does the mark ahead. You understand? He knows how to get out. He's solid. He knows how to go ahead on that performance and make that crowd love him and get them on his side. And there's many, we are like Netflix, I say. There's many series and there's many episodes. Yes,
well, I don't know the brother. I just heard the music, but his death seemed to have brought him to the surface for a lot of us who didn't know him to really know him. You're getting emotional here. Positive vibes. Well, I know that you plan to do a vigil for him, and I know you plan to do something big also tomorrow. But before we get there, talk a little bit about his approach to the music altogether, because in the music industry, I believe it's still almost a hand-to-mouth situation.
Right.
You guys don't really they get the recognition and the money we deserve. If they're in a different environment, people want to pay. But we still like, how much of that type of mentality, and we make talents like you to almost slip past us.
Right.
And we still focus only on what is gone. You know, there's Brother Palacio, there's Aurelio Martinez, etc. And we don't realize that down here you got these solid brothers that have been struggling for a long time, including Dion, right?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that, because somehow, you know, you guys don't get a chance to really express your side and your views, even though you're out there, all the popular music that you, but we still don't really get the sense of how much struggle a musician has to go through in Belize.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we have to say that being a musician here in this country, that's something where that's the last job where anybody would want. You know what I mean? With the struggles, and not only the struggles, but we have a lot of mouth and different things, you know, cutthroat, you call it, what happen within the industry itself. Because if one person not into you, or you and a person had what disagreement, and let us say, boom, Tia want to hire me. But I remember that me and I was here, but I don't hire anybody there, but this, that. So that's what we the face as we go along. And it shouldn't be. I mean, if you put in work in a music, it's only right that you get the bookings. Because we say that people when they put in no kind of work, they get bookings. You know what I mean? But it is because why? They affiliate with that group there, and that group there they do things, so they want to put in who that an artist. And it shouldn't be like that. You know? So that is one out of the many struggles that we face as Belizean artists and entertainers.
Let me just see if this is our caller for welcome, caller. Are you gonna ask a question in regards to the subject?
Good morning, Brother Nuri. This is Mose.
Oh, welcome, brother. Welcome. Yes, welcome.
Father.
Am I on air?
Yes, you're on the air.
All right. I believe TR and where's the studio?
Yeah, Positive Vibes is here.
Positive is there.
Right.
Well, we think respect TR Positive. I have to publicly pay my respect and stand with that USA with the brothers there, as well as the brother for the passing, untimely passing of Contigo. I feel that if you were able to be so honored as to be a part of the WhatsApp group that has been formed, what you would know absolutely then is how special Contigo is and will always be. I think Clear and Positive can speak to this, that it has really galvanized. I read through some of those messages like to see some of the people who are just pouring out energy, and I think Belizean listeners, viewers, you have to understand how unique it is that the Belizean artists, and I would say like though they will make that his performance, that is literally the song. Find that people don't understand what the Belizean artists completely know how special is, and as a human being, his energy, his frequency is incomparable. And yes, we've just recently lost an amazing, iconic bandero in Ontario. We have lost great ones like Ande Palacio. Nick Consigo has not reached that point where he can speak to an anthology of that depth. But insofar as Consigo as a life force, you cannot match it. You find somebody that is so absolutely authentic, no filters. Like, this was not a brother that there was never a dull moment that he was wrong. This brother, like, he was no different on stage than he was when you just sit down on some regular morning and he just walked in the yard.
Yeah, it was electric. Look like we lost you, Mose, but I could feel you. This brother obviously had a very strong emotional effect on everybody. Yeah, and you look like you can't stop crying, brother. But you know, I think to celebrate his life, maybe this is a call coming back. Yeah, welcome, caller.
I'm sorry, brother, I think I got disconnected.
Yeah, you did get cut off there. But go ahead, brother Mose.
But I really don't want to be too long because, you know, it's really their message, but I just felt it necessary to come and say that.
Yeah.
For those who knew him, and cannot associate Consigo with being still. We cannot. It is just this belief, because he has never been still. He has never been not with the level of frequency and energy in any room that he has been in. Just that. I knows this, and I will leave it. I would often give Consigo in the speech about 3 times. I will say, Consigo, you know what, my brother? You and the Creator will have a serious conversation, because what you have best, you need to do the work now, because you are one of the most gifted person I have ever met, and you don't give a damn about it. And I would give him that speech that you don't care about it. You just never consume him. You never consume him to trying to be the biggest, but he was just Consigo all the time. And so you would waste all this amazing talent, and he would just laugh. he would just laugh and say, I hear you for and that would be it. And so when I saw him kind of go back to Hopkins, I saw it on Facebook and said to him, I thought, oh, Consigo is now reaching a point where he is now dedicating himself to his craft. I would say that what people is to yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mose. Thanks for your input, my brother. Thanks for your input. Yeah, it's you know, I guess some artists, you know, they're so much into what they are that even when you tell them, don't really make any difference in terms of who they really are. And I get that sense from what Mose was saying and what you were saying also, TR. And you know, sometimes, you know, we lose so many of our brilliant, talented people, and it just passed by with nobody remembering, you know. So I'm glad that you're here to make sure that those who have never heard of Consigo will recognize that, you know, we have lost something.
Right.
But he's still alive in his music, and so we need to still give that respect. Talk about the affair that will take place tonight, and then also what will happen tomorrow, so that those who will want to join in that march can do that.
Okay, I'm going to speak in behalf of the vigil tonight, and then TR will speak about the live concert that we're doing tomorrow.
Okay.
We are having a candlelight vigil this evening at 5 p.m. I believe it's in front of...
Starts at Farmers Road.
Right, at Farmers Road.
Heights of Vibes.
Yeah, by the Heights of Vibes studio, where because he was an artist who was from Heights of Vibes to DTH, and DTH back to Heights of Vibes. So we wanted to... right. You know, yeah. So, yes, that will happen this evening. So we invite everybody to come out because then
which part of Farmers Road that there, for those who don't know?
This is 2 lanes after the Muslim school on the right-hand side, which is the Heights of Vibes studio.
Right.
Okay, good.
Can't miss that. Definitely. So
that's at 5 o'clock?
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
And that one moved to where?
It's going to pass through Farmers Road onto Central American Boulevard, onto North Creek, and then into Seagull Street, which is the left off North Creek on the bridge. And then it ends right there on the blockage of the street, and then we all congregate and celebrate our bro. And then for the Saturday, the Friday, don't mistake this, I always say Saturday. Friday, we're gonna be celebrating Consigo's life. Tribute concert for him where all the artists, all producers, everybody is gonna come and represent Consigo, and that will be at the Heights of Vibes studio as well. Okay. So we're gonna have stage shows, we're gonna have food, we're gonna enjoy Consigo.
Back on Farmers Road?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right at the Heights of Vibes.
This is a place where Heights is a university for many, many artists.
Yeah.
The likes of Consigo and many more, Melody Man, Not Nice, I'm talking about some Fallen Brothers right here too. Not Nice, Pungas. These are guys where come out of Heights of Vibes and have passed and gone. There are many more too, because I could add Mr. Bondi, Pioneer, there's so many more. You understand, that actually had a part of Heights of Vibes and lived at Heights of Vibes at one point in their life. What makes each and every individual great in their own way is that we knew how to love. And that was the greatest part about all of us. Yes, we all have our differences as human beings, but we knew how to have that level of love in Heights of Vibes. Give thanks to Father Lee, because Father Lee is the head spear of Heights of Vibes. Likewise, Father Moses is also an individual that has been around us for many, many moons and many years. And they have seen our growth. They have seen how we flourished and how we have become the person that, and we're still trying to become the person that we want to be, the great artist that we all strive to be. And what I see now that my brother gone, this just only reminds us that love is always still there. And we're supposed to always cherish each other and respect each other and unconditionally love each other, because God is of love.
And don't take each other for granted.
And don't take each other for granted, because one moment we can be here and the next we're gone.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, Paz.
Yeah, for me, right, that like this, nothing cut a shot. The first time when we met Consigo at my Heights of Vibes studio, me and Young C, we made work on my album, No Sense at that time.
Pungas Bringer.
And we did the song Ibagaria. Young C made the rhythm. Young C don't know a punta rhythm maker like that. But we did a thing, and we heard about Consigo. So Young C tell me, boy, we need to go to Heights of Vibes, go meet this man, whatever. So we went, and we tell the man the idea what we have. We don't have the original song Sigo, but we had to do the remix. And we did that, and from there, and this boy up a keyboard, he play. The Ibagaria song, right? And from then, we just had a crazy bond with this guy. And we carry this guy back to we studio over that side there. He didn't want to left for there, you know what I mean? And that feeling there was great. And even when we the record, I could always remember this will be my greatest moment of him. When we the record, he a person, when he done record, I can listen to that. Boy! And he want to jump.
Even if you feel that it's
if your student not too strong, or you know what I mean, when he going through the roof, someone shy on see, I have to tell him, boy, relax. You know what I mean? But he that also a person when he hear for him music, no? That was a different level. He may know how to market himself, and he may know how to put himself out there. Because 20 man have, I think, 24 and more, 24/7 represented. You know what I mean? He that consider 24/7. You know, so that's one of my greatest moments of him, and I always keep that dear to my heart. Like I said in my post, I will never do a performance without give him his gratitude and honoring him with a song. You know what I mean? Because he will live forever in our hearts and especially in our mind as well. You know.
We brought the best out of him, you know. we will bring the best out of him. Yeah. That same Studio Heights Vibes and DTH bring the best out of Consigo. Because even at one point in his life, I remember God, he was like, bro, it's not work for me. And then at this time, this was when he was doing a lot of tours the States, kind of back and forth, back and forth until something happened one day with Homeland. All I will get at the election there. But hopefully things work out for all of us, you know, at some point that we could start travel back and reach out with our music as well, because this was Consigo's dream this year, because the celebration song we did this year, Belizean Party, that he said out of all the celebration songs them that the Office of the Prime Minister commissioned us to do, that this last one we did was the most epic and prolific one we ever did. And that was in his eyes, because he always knows that I always look for the better one. And he calls me the hit maker, so you know, it just hurt me a lot to know that talent there no longer want to do it again. And it's so funny that I shovel sand in my yard the other day and Carl come and say make me a Consigo go to Calaritas go perform. Like literally that just, when I think about the things and like it just mess up. You understand? It broke you down, it make you feel bad because we know that there's so much things in play and in the pipeline for Consigo, literally in the couple of months to come, all the way into November again. That like, he's fully booked out, echoing the sentiments of Father Mose, whereby he actually was changing the way he started view the music and being more disciplined and more focused and more jubilant all over again. Because one spell it was like, okay, we're going on this wave and we're riding the tide. And whatever highs we go and whatever lows we go. And this I see this in the brother that he had one dream, and I believe even in his death, a dream will live on. He had a dream whereby he knows that we my boss Sunday. I can't picture that my brother may want to do it my boss like this. That we have to hear this bad news and it spread over the whole place. But everybody, like I said, will know who is the honor girl this. They know that he don't know a regular guy. We all know that he now a different, I cannot different type of person.
This guy not gonna know hate in
his that you know exist, that don't exist.
Like literally,
I post you up right now.
Yeah.
And then after that, boy, my boy. Yeah, that's the brother where we know.
Yeah.
And he was no grudges, he was no feelings, he was no animosity.
Like what he say in his song, would I give me last to my friend? And that's what he did.
Because we not go pretend. You know, we no bad mind and we not carry feelings. This I want your top 10.
So good to be me. That is song and also that by and that is song where we always listen to and different thing, and because we know that that exact who he is through his music, and then he tell people who he is, you know. Give me last to my friend. Yeah. You know, we're not trying to pretend. You know, so
The last one me and the man up was the Marasoka. Somewhat of a very derogative song because I was in my thing. You know, if people know me too, I like real up about the truth. And my mouth has no filter when it comes to the truth either. But me and the man they sit down on a day and I build on a beat. Kendall Simpson produced over the beat for me because I build it and he mix it over. And so when Consigo here, I then in the studio, cuss up guys, I said, boy, I'm tired of all this unsupportiveness where they get all this this struggles where they face, and people they don't understand your story. So I had to put it in our lead song for small synopsis that you know the deal to right. So I'll give you a lash. You know what I mean? But me and the brother, I sit down in a studio and I had one lead part where going at the song where they and right and he repeat it back in the Garifuna language. I can't say it. People know that song there because now when me and the man sit down and I say, here how we have family this video now. Because we need this video for family. And then the man, me and some other brethren me there and the man said, boy, we want to go like on homeless on the street. Because and Marco Lopez, which is also my cousin, he also did an article upon the song, and he explained it more in the layman terms and how we want to say it upon the song. That we are facing this struggle, we feel that we need to get better support, and we need to have our people on our side. Fionn Lyons said this the other day when when that festival was happening, that if it's like a cake, if you don't make it nice and you don't make it good, how can people want to buy it? If you don't nurture it and make sure that that grow good, how can people want to buy it in the world? So the world now watch Belize and artists because we don't have certain things, the priority things put in place.
Right.
As for instance, one of the things I always say that Belize artists needs to have a federation. I watch people fight me down when I say this. Every other island have a federation. Artist federation. So if we are going to be represented when these international artists come and make all the money and go home and don't even look at us, the people don't even know who they are, but they see us every day, what kind of support do we really have in this country? And it's sad. It's mind-boggling to a lot of the artists them, and I see a lot of the artists them flip out. And when we flip out, that because of the struggles where we face, enough man don't know can see go right then and a guy will not flip. But there was so much in his heart that wanted to make him flip. But because of his niceness and humbleness and so, the man never flipped on nothing. That's why we say he not like water. He flow through everything.
Yeah.
Easily and smoothly.
The man know if he adapt.
Yeah, the man, he's an adapter, trust me. He's like a chameleon, you know. Nothing now make him mash up the moment. He come to make the moment great. You know that kind of way. So he will be greatly missed by all his friends and family members and the whole artist diaspora. Because he was not only known in Belize like that, he was well known in the diaspora as well. Yeah. And the diasporans, they love him too.
I believe too, the guys, because Hopkins was his hometown, he will be buried there. Yeah. The information we got is that the funeral will be on the 3rd of May. So I believe that on the 2nd is the wake. You know, that they also have a tribute.
Yeah, the tribute at the same time too. The Friday before the Sunday.
So that they have a massive tribute.
Before he's resting.
And the family has reached out to the DTH crew and the Heights of Vibes crew to be a part of it, you know. Yeah. So we will be there at the tribute, and then we bury with brother, put down with brother in the dirt thereafter.
You know, I've never met the brother, and I must admit, you know, that I'm overwhelmed by just the spirit of you two brothers, and also Mo's calling in here and realizing that we got so many people that are like unsung heroes.
Yep.
You know, we just see people that pass on the street, but you don't realize that in the circle of that person is one dynamic individual.
Right.
But we pass each other, you know, and many times, unfortunately, we got bad things to say about each other instead of something good. So you brothers being here today, and just the artist community that's galvanized around Dion, and the kind of spirit that you hear people have for him, this is good, man. I saw yesterday when I attended the opening or the launching of the book for Kenny Morgan. Again, we don't respect our artists in their humanity.
Yes, sir.
We only see them when they perform, but don't we realize that behind that there's a giant.
Yes, sir.
There's a giant. There's not just one poem. It's not just a song. There's a giant behind it. And for you to tell me that one of the spirit that he had was that nothing fails him.
No, nothing.
Because we the feelings people.
Yeah.
You know,
We're spiritual
you
beings.
watch
Yep.
we
Yes.
the wrong way and we catch feelings.
Exactly.
So this
You know got that.
No, for him to have that kind of
You never got
spirit,
that.
you know, and like you say, like water, he passes through.
Yeah.
You know, we'll miss the brother for
very much
what he contributed. But let's remember that what came through him still exists.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So there are other consejos out there now,
Yeah.
more beyond where they come up.
Yeah.
And so we have to have the kind of spirit to encourage that so that there are more of them. And then in terms of this being appreciated, TR, you've been out there such a long time. And you know, we just have to find a way where Nietzsche and all of these other agencies will do what they need to do, to push artists in a Belize. And I agree with you, no wait for government, form your own association, or even if you can't get everybody to join, those who are serious should be there. Because we complain over and over that we bring it from Byron Lee days, you know.
Yeah, from Byron Lee days.
From Byron Lee days, over 30, 40 years, we bring in foreign artists and have we artists then as second fiddle.
It actually get worse because back in the days that I must say 1 or 2 times for the year, now about 10, 20 times for the year. And we the rate here, you know what I mean? When we get bookings on the job, the money gets spent here. But when they get international, they care for we money over, so you know what I mean?
No, it's just the factor that people might not like how I said this, especially promoters, that when you all are bringing in these international artists, yes, it's at the level that you are not going to be booking nobody we can haul a crowd if you make your venue nice, but then at least have some sort of equilibrium between how you deal with your Belizean artists and they. Because me personally, I open for so many international artists and my level of performance is somewhat equal to them because I remember so many shows. Yes, it is, but it's just that we're not in that market space that they are.
That's all it is.
And if we were in that market space, we would be very much prolific at like them.
Exactly. Bro.
So then and again, the moral support from our fans and families and friends. This is how you support an artist. Go and read a biography. Go and watch his YouTube. Go and press Spotify. Go and press play on every single media stuff that an artist can. And when this boy have a show every year, and that one free show, so Belizean people wait to go up on a show there. So when a normal Belizean person or a normal artist say, I do my show, charge only $25, no one shows up. Because they get a free show every year. You understand? And that makes a lot of, like, I see it like this, that like, only the shortcut way, only not really deal with it, then when you deal with it, when you give away the end of the stick real toto up.
Yeah.
You understand? So where we stand as an artist and as an artist community, I strongly believe, and I stand on this, that we all must, I'm sorry for not be looking because I like to have eye contact when I speak with people.
Yeah, right.
But we supposed to make sure that we galvanize our future as artists and where we're going to be going with the artistry, because we don't get pension and we don't have social security. So but when they know, when they know we might leave without to go through right now, if you understand? So I appeal to our public, to our fans, and to all the business sectors especially. Look upon the artists there. See their greatness. Sponsor them. Give them what they deserve. Give them their rose now.
Not give away
when they're dead.
We can't smell
like what we do now to Dion. Look like what we do now to Dion. We big up Dion. Big up Dion when Dion is alive.
That's
when
right.
TR is alive. When Positive Vibe is alive. No wait and then have weeks where we mourn over the death of somebody who could have
then
been.
you are the post up. Just imagine. You may know he's so good, you want he do this, and you want he. Because then, for that, we as Belizeans, we have to stop this foolishness, because at the end of the day, you know,
because this happen, you want to be in a trend because this is where the trend. But when this man I'm alive and the struggle and the need to help, there was I kind of upset in a sense like, yo, something have to happen to we get one gratitude for make we get one levels.
But from there's always help because those who seek shall always find. I don't believe in our complacency because work speak for itself and hard work outdo talent if talent no work hard. So coming with that said, I believe that we need to make that real change because we run through my mind just knowing that. Just imagine Super Jimmy, really, really big. Like he is really big. But now imagine Super Jimmy big like these Machel and these other guys out there, this Kasabe and all of them out there. Imagine the amount of revenue and stuff where we can come back in at the country from our own ambassador artists.
Tourist alternative.
And so now we the scrape dog, hand to mouth. Yeah. Somehow when they know about hand to mouth, you have to hustle. Yeah. And then enough for the artists, they run from Belize now to try to figure out the better life the States. Yeah. And when you get out the States, you diminish your whole career. Because you have to dance the yard before you dance the bride.
Absolutely.
And I always believe that my brother coming back to Consigo again, that me one of the guys there where that me a good example as how an artist really for me carry himself, regardless of his own discrepancies. He got a way about time to say, okay, this is the way how you're supposed to deal with the artistry and how you're supposed to love it. Because if you don't love it, he don't love you back. So I appeal to all my artists again too. Let's keep humbly loving each other and make great music that we can compete with the internationals and then set up ourselves righteously right here in Belize so that when we represent internationally and when we have the guys them imported as well, we can move correctly and in accordance with our music and our livelihood and what we make back to put in our mouth and take care of our kids.
Amen, bro. I would only say that the idea of forming an association is a good idea.
I remember saying this on the stage and me and Shine had a fight, nearly gone to blows backstage a couple of years ago when he had his first music thing. And I made mention to that on the artist stage. I never forget that. And I now realize there's a lot of gatekeepers in the music right here in Belize. A lot of gatekeepers. I'm not afraid to call out. I don't know how to call names. But I know who you are. I studied my change. I know the nice in the market.
Yeah.
Because then I understand that we have to make sure we secure for we kids their food. And not for we gap it if we feed out there. So the life we live out here as artists, you know, easy, man. Just know that nothing not easy for an artist.
Yeah. You know, there's a whole story behind as I'm listening to you. There's a whole story if we really look on this
like I said, Netflix series and
it is a series, indeed. There's a whole series of things to talk about because organizing and you bring back memories of how artists used to feel when they used to bring in their artists from outside, pay them big money, and then give we sprinklings. You understand me? and there was this mindset that we not really talented, we only know how to imitate talent. So not bring him because he not original, he just know how to sing like somebody else who is done famous. And that's a false understanding, complete false. And man, you're a genius. Then they create their own song, their own music, etc. So they're on different level. So I would suggest one more time, organize yourself. Because the gatekeepers need to hear and understand. Maybe this is one last call for you. Welcome, caller.
Hey, good morning,
Yes, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Oh, you
guys.
All right. Go ahead, brother.
I never knew Consigo, but from the way you guys are speaking, it seems as though he was such a great guy. He was good in music. What I was going to ask you guys ever thought of, say you take one like Caracol, I've been to Caracol, and you pick a day and throw a concert on YouTube or Hulu or maybe get Channel 5 or one of the local maybe creme. They're all out there and do a concert from one of these
great places. You have Caracol and Tunara, all of them, and you see what you will get from that. You would be promoting tourism, the culture, the Mayan culture, and you would also be making some money for yourselves. What do you guys think about that? I listen to you guys.
All right, good. Let
Well,
that be last.
to answer the gentleman's question, we have always been doing that. I'm not sure if you have been following us, but we are ambassadors of this country, and there's a lot of, like, especially with Consigo again. If you go and look at this video on the celebration songs, we sang at Son Antonich, and we did a lot of landmarks, and it makes sense to promote your country in tourism, because of course we know that is the biggest GDP for Belize. But we have always been doing that. From Ernestine to Tanya Carter days, from the Fresh Breeze crew to Heavy D days, from Jen Covelli to Super G Younger Boy days, from Reckless, from Mobile Malaki days, there's so many artists. God bless all the artists that we pass and gone to, because there's so much away.
You say they think kind of easy for say, but you have to realize that resources are the most important thing in what we do. Yeah. Because we could have the baddest song out. But remember, if you want to reach fire to TR, that song that was fire to you, you have to think about marketing, you have to think about distribution, you have to think about management, agent, all kind of thing. What we do not have. Yeah. We have to be for we own manager, we have to be for we own producer, we have to be for we own everything. You understand?
So is there a room for a person who's not necessarily an artist but an organizer, a promoter, a person who can put this all together even though he himself is not a musician? Is there room for that?
I believe when government came out the other day and wanted to do the royalty system, but they went about it just not being fully informed. That's one of the first steps that should be taken for the artist community. The royalty system being implemented in Belize properly. Because if we really would get these guys outside to be listening to all the replicated stuff we do here, they would be charging us in court so many times, especially me. Because all the politicians song we remix back out and put in our next artist song, so they could charge me for that. You understand? So this is why you see when I went into that, I went about doing it all original now, so we don't have any discrepancy there. We don't get no lawsuit power. But that the first thing we have to start, the royalty system, and right following behind that is that they have to do the federation. Not an association, a federation. So that we can move and get our foot in at the doors there, because when the federation comes, there's a lot of people representing it. It's not only the ambassadors who are the artists, it will be lawyers representing, the business sectors representing, government representing. And this is how we can build that. I call it a premature industry Belize has. We don't have an industry here. Because when you have an industry, people fly out, people come in, people fly out, people bring back revenue, artists, they get big ambassadorships and stuff from outside, and so real money to spend. So, and again, I'm just sitting here thinking before I speak, because at the end of the day, there's so much I would like to say that I can't say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you can't say
I gotta say,
this is
forever, speaker forever hold a peace, but I don't hold my peace for certain things.
Right, okay.
But give thanks, knowing that, let me repeat it one time again, that we'll be doing the candlelight vigil for Consigo. So this evening, starting from Heights of Vibes at 5.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be marching from on to Barbers on to Central American Boulevard, off Central American Boulevard into North Creek, and right into Seagull Street, which is the first bridge, right?
Where we will be having a little drumming for him.
Yeah, a little drumming as well, that's right.
He was a cultural artist,
icon. That's right, yeah.
He was so proud of his culture.
Yep, that's right. Punta for life.
Yes. He made me so proud of being a Garifuna person.
That's right, that's good.
So,
thanks, brothers, for being here, and we encourage you to support the vigil this evening at 5 o'clock.
And also the Friday, the celebration
Yes.
party for him.
And those of you who are in the area of Hopkins, by all means, go and pay your respect.
Right.
On May the 2nd, which is the time of the funeral.
Our funeral will be the 3rd.
All right. We'll take our break and we'll be back. right, welcome back. This is WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes, and I'm sorry, Brother Mose. I understand that you got knocked off. It was not me that knocked you off, but somehow you did get disconnected. But the discussion this morning started off with just talking about Consejo and Dion Ogaldes and his artistry, and to talk about the vigil that will take place this evening and the artist celebration that will take place tomorrow by Heights Vibe on Farbers Road. But then it got into another conversation about the artist and his personality. And so thanks very much for calling in and being a part of the conversation. Likewise, Mose, but I didn't cut you off. It was not intentional. Our number here is 280-5848, 280-5848. So many things we wanted to bring up this morning, but one of the areas that I think is important to bring up is this idea of the traffic and the road conditions. Now, when we talk about the road conditions, of course, we're also talking about the Ministry of Infrastructure Development, but we also are making reference to transport. And transport is also responsible for looking at the amount of road traffic incidents that we are dealing with every day. Not only with motorcycle, as in the case of Dion, who was killed as a result of a motorcycle incident, but other artists, people who are being knocked down on the road, roads that don't have sufficient lights, areas where people are still having high beams that seem to me to be illegal, because there's no way that the high beam should be so bright that it locks off any light for oncoming traffic. And that's still being allowed. Who is the one monitoring that? Is it to monitor the stores that are selling such lights? Is it to stop that person that have that kind of light and tell them, listen, here's a ticket, you have to change that, and you know, you're going to pay if you don't change? What is it that we need to do? To my mind, we have to put these accidents or these incidents on the road as a priority and make sure from there we start doing what is necessary to reduce these road traffic incidents, which is daily. Many of them that we don't hear about is still occurring. And people are being hurt, people are being hospitalized. It's not always death. People are having their vehicles being damaged on the road. So there's a lot that needs to be done. This new minister, Louis Zabane, Dr. Zabane, has taken over transport, and he has said that he will be working towards trying to make corrections in that area. And he welcomed the fact that Chester Williams, who is moving from Commissioner of Police to being CEO in that ministry, brings a lot of experience legally, but legally is only a part of it. It's really creating the kind of structures within that ministry that will ensure that we're not constantly repeating the same thing over and over, because it's becoming one of the major killers of Belizeans are these road traffic incidents. And if we don't put it as a major priority, then we'll just be mourning every time somebody dies, hope that it don't happen again, and then next week the same thing happens. So it's very important. I have said that we also need to find a way to check on motorcycles. Whether it is the person don't know how to work a motorcycle and is being given a license to drive, or It's a defect in some of these motorcycles that they cannot take a certain amount of speed, they cannot take whatever the case might be. There is a need for us to make a special examination of our whole system of using motorcycles on the road, and especially around the city. The sniper way in which some of these delivery guys are moving in front and in and out of traffic, trying to deliver. I mean, yes, that's good because the faster you deliver, the more you could get back and get more. But you can't violate the traffic regulations and expect that that's all right. And we just accept that and we just say, well, you know, them boy there. No, they contribute to accidents. And it's important that we not allow that to continue to take place. Let's take our next break so that we could catch up with our breaks.
In Belize, we
All right, we didn't have a lot of time to talk about some of these topics because, you know, we were full up with our guests before. But we wanted to say a little bit about this MCC. This MCC, or the Millennium Challenge Corporation, was supposedly a government quasi body that the United States Foreign Aid Agency started up in an attempt to assist developing countries with their economic struggles. And it is a great program in the sense that it is or was supposed to be doing what USAID was doing before. USAID, going as far back as the 60s, used to locate certain projects in developing countries, and the United States was one of the biggest givers of foreign aid. And then in the 80s, they started to pull back gradually under Reagan's administration. And it has been a gradual pushback, pullback of a lot of their foreign aid. Belize was the recipient of a lot of the United States foreign aid. We had support from a very successful program called the Peace Corps. And the Peace Corps did tremendous work in Belize. The Peace Corps, which started around the time of Kennedy, so this is way, way, way back. I believe it's his brother-in-law, Shriver, that was originally responsible for that very dynamic program, which basically said to Americans, it started mostly with American students, college graduates, that look, you need to put in some volunteer time. And so what we will do is set up a system whereby you can go to a foreign country, and if you're a school teacher in one particular area, if you're an engineer, if you're a doctor, or whoever you are, we will pay you a small stipend, not a salary, but a stipend for you to be able to survive in that area. We will pay for your housing and your other necessary help, and all we're asking you to do is give 2 years of voluntary service to that particular country. It was an excellent program. It assisted us in our schools. The British also had their own volunteer overseas program, which was very similar to the Peace Corps. And these countries were basically saying, we are wealthy countries, you are developing countries, and we have a moral responsibility in charity, which is a scriptural responsibility, that those who have should help those who don't have. And so these programs began to become extremely large because the need was so large. But what started to happen is that corruption started to creep in. And I guess anything that lasts over a long period of time, if you don't look at it and renew it, it will have that tendency to be corrupt. And so monies was going missing in some of these federal programs. People were putting in their own friends and keeping out those who they didn't want. And so to a large extent, long before Trump, these programs were under the magnifying glass of a lot of people in the United States saying that we're a waste. Yes, we're helping these people, but at the same time, look at the budget being this size and look at exactly what you're giving, which is this size, which means that most of that money is going into administration, people to get new vehicles, people to get new buildings, people are getting new contracts, etc., etc. And so there's been this effort to scale back and to move back a lot of these programs. Now they've been pussyfooting around with it and tinkering here and tinkering there. And when Trump came in with that same echo. He didn't just come up with it himself. He came up with the same echo that they have been complaining about for many years. And so he's made these draconian moves on these foreign assistance programs, and the MCC is one of those. As I said, there was a time when Belize had the most, based on our small population size, we had the most Peace Corps persons working here than any other country because of our population size, not the number of these persons, but the number of these persons compared to the size of our population made it an unusual arrangement between the American Foreign Service and Belize. So we've benefited from that. They used to come in and try to build roads, they would come in and build schools, they came in and they did various projects that we really needed. But the corruption did not only grow from the United States agencies, but the corruption also existed in these developing countries where these large sums of monies that would come in, part of it would go for the development, but part of it would also go to people who would get the contracts to build this, the contracts to dig here, the contracts to organize this, the people who would bring in the procurement for this. And so there was a lot of hustling that would go on in these programs. And I'm not only talking about Belize, I'm telling you globally, this is what was happening with these programs. So this effort to pull back would have affected us whether we wanted to or not. The whole idea of this foreign aid constantly going out has been something that the United States has been battling with for a while. Now, China has a foreign aid program. Russia has a foreign aid program. Iran has a foreign aid program. Saudi Arabia is trying to get their foreign aid program off the ground. Taiwan has a very robust foreign aid program because of their issue with the United Nations and trying to ensure that they get the vote to become a member with that whole territorial battle that they're having with China. So they have been very robust in helping developing countries to build roads, to lend money for this and for that. So I'm saying that that whole area of foreign aid is an area that have been under the microscope for a long time. And when Trump comes in with his way of doing things, it's causing a lot of alarm, as if he's the only one and the first one to ever come up with this idea. He's not. This is an idea that they have been looking at for quite some time. But what does it tell us? It tells us as developing countries that we cannot continue to be only receiving. We've also got to get into a mode where we're doing for ourselves and trying to make sure that we do for ourselves. And that's why the brother this morning mentioned Burkina Faso, because there are countries that are saying, look, yes, we're poor, but will we continue to be poor and dependent, or will we be moving from out of our poverty based on our own efforts to try to do things differently? And it's not always that we don't have the resources, it's sometimes that we are not managing those resources as best that we can. We'll take the final break and come back and close off.
Take a deep breath. You feel that energy
All right, thank you for being with us this morning. This is the 25th day of April 2025, and we should be back here tomorrow, God willing. And as I already announced, our guest tomorrow will be Brother, the one and only, the man who just published his book yesterday, If We No Think the Lie. That's Kenny Morgan. And we should have an interesting conversation with a man who really has a kind of an encyclopedic mind when you listen to his experience, as I did yesterday. And so you will enjoy him tomorrow. We'll open the phone line so that you could engage. Those of you who didn't get a chance to see it, I believe that the opening was filmed by Nietzsche. And so maybe you could go on their website and look at it. I think it was also done by other individuals, so maybe it's on Facebook. But you should go on and listen to his recitation of some of his poems yesterday. So we want to thank those who were in the background, Brother Larry Guerrero. Upstairs we had Alexi Belide and also Mr. Clifton Lewis. We thank TR Shine and also Positive Vibes for being with us this morning in talking about the iconic brother Dion Ogaldes and his passing, and or remembering him in his right form, which is an extraordinary artist who was more than just a singer, a rapper, or a performer, but really a living and vibrating individual that left a mark on all those who met him. So we were happy to have that conversation this morning. Tomorrow we look forward to additional talk on these issues of Belizean development, and so we ask you to join us tomorrow and to be a part of that conversation. And so, Belizeans, stand strong and stand firm and do the right thing. For now, we gone!
Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show by people. Belize our hopes are to needless reason. Nobody feel left out is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's all we need to